Hello, welcome everyone to PopCultX. Once again, we are here to bring you all the pop cult news from a Gen X perspective. I am Gabriel with Danny here every week talking about pop culture. So let's go ahead and get started. I have some kind of big news, I guess, if you will. This last Saturday, I was at the PopCultX concert, the Lady Gaga concert in Los Angeles at the Dodger Stadium, and it was amazing. Probably one of the best concerts I've ever been to, which is expected because she's a brilliant, amazing performer. They were filming, so my fingers are crossed that like maybe they're going to have something for like Netflix or HBO or
Nice.
something. So that'd be really cool.
Cool.
Gaga did tweet that there were 30 cameras and she only had one take to like really hit her mark. So I'm assuming that means that they're filming it for something. So hopefully we will be able to see the end result.
See Gabe in there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was we had really kind of good seats. I mean, we weren't front row because we weren't in the pit, but it was just really entertaining. She's a great performer, really cool visuals, great choreography. Her vocals sounded amazing. Was really cool is that she did sort of like a rock arena aesthetic. She had flames.
Oh, nice.
Shot through the air, and not just at the front of the stage, but like in the middle of the field. So it was like all encompassing. And towards the end, for one of her finales, she had fireworks go off behind the stage. So it was quite the spectacle. It was amazing. It was really good. And of course, she brought sort of her earnest perspective to the things that are going on in the world. She made a statement about women's rights to body autonomy. She talked about people celebrating life after the pandemic, about being true to yourself. So a lot of really, I mean, it's just a well-rounded Gaga experience. Having her heartfelt like little speech and interactions with the audience, great performances, great pop songs, great dance songs, just really cool stuff. Just really great concert. I really hope that it does get released somewhere on the interweb for everyone else to see, because I think you'll really enjoy it if you get a chance to catch it.
That's the Chromatica Ball tour, right?
Chromatica Ball tour. She has 2 more stops, so she's hitting up Houston and then Miami, and then she'll be done. So she went through Europe and I think has pretty much, I think, sold out every one of the venues. I mean, 70, 80,000 seat venues. Dodger Stadium only holds 50. Yeah. So 50,000 people there last night. It was great. It was amazing. It was really cool to people watch too, which is also part of the entertaining thing about going to see a Gaga concert, is that her fans sort of show out by dressing up in really cool attire. So it was really fun just to kind of sit there and watch people walk by in these really crazy, amazing, creative get-ups.
Kind of like a mini rave then, right? In a way.
Yeah. I was kind of expecting to see more famous people because it's LA. We saw, you may not know who this person is, but Gigi Gorgeous. She's a sort of like makeup influencer, trans activist. She's married to what's his name? I forget his name now, but first name I forget, but he's a Getty, so he's like born wealthy. And I think he's a trans male, or may go by they, them. I'm not sure. But I saw them walk by, saw a famous drag queen walk by. But I was kind of expecting to see some other people, but it could have been that they brought them out of VIP, like when the lights go down, so that they're not bugged.
Right.
But like I said, it was just really cool just to see a bunch of interesting people walking around. Lots of young kids too with their parents kind of taking them to go see Gaga, which is really cool, like supporting their fandom. So it was fun. It was a really good time.
That's cool. That's really cool. I mean, she's on my list of people who I'd love to see perform at some point in my lifetime. But we'll get to that later on. Now, speaking of people watch, and I bring this up only because you just spent about a week, right, in a very, I'm guessing it's a very people watching friendly city.
Yeah.
In New Orleans, correct?
Yeah. I was there for what they call Southern Decadence, which is the 50th year of Southern Decadence. Southern Decadence being sort of like a pride event
Okay.
It's not necessarily strictly LGBT. There was a lot of straight people, allies there as well, but kind of an excuse to party and be yourself and kind of let your freak flag fly. I did get some cool pictures of some interesting people, which people can see on my Instagram or Twitter. Um, and so yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was humid as fuck, like it was super hot. I will not be going back to New Orleans in August or September ever again. I just was not a fan of the humidity. Now that I did Southern Decadence, I can check it off my list. But I will be going back probably in the winter. I will not be.
That's cool.
It's really humid. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I love the city, the food, the music, the art, the culture is top notch. The people there are probably some of the friendliest people I've ever met. Uh, so yeah, so it was really cool.
Now,
Like
how did it
got,
compare to since we're a year removed from more of the lockdown? How did it compare to your first visit there? Was everything more open? Were you able to see more? Were there more people?
there was more open, so the cemeteries were closed when I went the first time.
Hmm.
But it being the South, I think they were a little bit more relaxed when it comes to COVID. So the bars were open last time I went. I know they did close for a certain time period, but they probably opened a lot sooner than California did. I mean, we pretty much did a lot of the same things. There were more people because not only was it Southern Decadence, but it was FSU and LSU, which is a big rival,
Mhm.
playing. So there was a lot of people from Florida there, kind of being annoying, obnoxious, like as a side conversation. Um, I'm really tired of sports groups or colleges having mascots that are based off of indigenous people. Uh,
Mhm.
being on an airplane and seeing a 60-year-old white man, doing like a tomahawk chop and a quote like Native American like war chant or whatever it is just really obnoxious. It just really bugs the crap out of me. Um, it's been such an argument for such a long time, and I know some teams have ultimately decided that they're gonna part ways with what is basically a racist
Well, yeah, I agree. But Florida State, I think they're the Seminoles, right?
right.
Which is just a tribe name in that part of. So I don't know how derogatory it is towards the Native Americans in there. I don't know if it is. I mean, with the Cleveland baseball team, they went from the Indians to the Guardians, which is
Yeah.
cool. Washington Redskin football team went from the Redskins to now I think they're the Commanders. So
Yeah.
they've changed in those respects. The professional leagues, I know there's a lot more within the college ranks, and yeah, I agree with you. I think they do need to kind of parse that out.
Yeah. I mean, it just like if you were to compare like, to make a comparison to like ethnic group, like instead of the Seminoles, it being like the Ashkenazi Jews, and like they came out with like, the dancing, and it'd be ridiculous, right? I mean,
Right, right.
or
I know
you
what you
had
mean.
like the Sicilians or like the fighting Sicilians, like and the argument is always like, well, Notre Dame has the fighting Irish, and no one has anything to say about that, but white people aren't treated the same way as indigenous
Mhm.
people or people of color. So it's like apples to oranges. You have positive images of white people, in abundance in America. So like having a mascot based off of the Fighting Irish is not really derogatory or demeaning to them because they're in power. White people are in power and control everything. Um, it is what it is. I mean, it annoys me to see people, you know, it's annoying. I can't
Let,
do with it. So
let me ask you about this one then. San Diego State is the Aztecs,
yeah, I hate that
and
too.
and they really they really have made I think an effort to celebrate the Aztec nation when it comes to being their sports mascot.
Yeah.
So it's no longer just a caricature of it. I think it's more having the Aztec warrior. He comes out, and I, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I can see maybe not use ethnic groups as your mascots anymore. Might be the way to go.
Yeah.
But given the San Diego's history with Mexico and with the Mexican culture, I think it's a way. I look at it more of a way to celebrate that maybe I'm in the minority in that. I don't know, but I don't think they do anything too bad, at least recently.
For me, it's the idea or notion that a group of white people are celebrating, Aztec culture, but which within the context of a football game, but then those same people go out and discriminate against Mexican Americans.
Absolutely.
So it's like, let's not pretend that it's like, oh, they love the culture, they want to celebrate us, they treat us with equal rights. Like, they don't. It's like a pet. It's like,
you're
having,
right.
During slavery, having people, you having a slave that you fought and you are proud of them as a good fighter, but that's not the same as, treating them as an equal person with equal human rights. I just think it's weird. Like, why don't we then do it to other groups? Like, why don't we have, the basketball swishing Swedes, or, the the incredible Icelandic whatever. Like, it's just stupid. And
the Canadian Mounties or something.
Yeah, like with indigenous people, is like there's this romanticized idea of like this brave warrior, but you don't balance it out with the reality of the atrocities that were committed against
that's true
indigenous people. Or like, so if you really wanted to know the history and celebrate them, you would also speak to what they are currently facing and what they've been through, and would support them, not just within the context of a sports game, but in life. And you see within society right now, people that are anti, what is it called? CRT.
The critical race theory.
Yeah. And there, any sort of mention about the atrocities of the past is like, oh, you're racist against white people. You don't want, you're trying to put us down. And it's like, okay, those are the same people that are like, oh, I love the Aztecs, and I went to SDSU in the 80s, and it's such a great symbol of bravery and pride. But then you also don't want to discuss like the real Aztecs, the real Mexican people. You want it to be just some cute little mascot. So that's where like I like the hypocrisy of it begins. If it was whole rounded, like if it was well rounded, like, yeah, we support Mexican people, we love them, we're fighting for their rights, we're anti-Trump when he says they bring the worst into the United States. No, those same people that love their Aztecs are also voting for Trump, are also for the wall, saying that Mexico sends the worst. So fuck off with that. Like that, it's just it's so stupid.
I understand that point. Yeah, I understand
that. There's a local reporter here in San Diego that I think they knocked him down from newscaster to reporter, and I haven't really seen him recently, but he's very much obviously a conservative. He's always the one that they send to campus whenever there's like a racial issue, and he always editorializes his report with, I went to SGSU and this is our culture and this is a tradition, and it's like it's so funny that they don't see the way they treat the actual people versus this symbol, this cute little toy. Like it's their pet Aztec, mascot. It's just ridiculous. So anyway, so outside of that, New Orleans was a lot of fun. The people from LSU, like the fans of LSU, were so much more cool than the Florida people. I mean, I guess you kind of have to be a little bit aggressive when you're the away team. I guess I'm not a sports guy, but typically when you're like visiting a school, right? Like, aren't you more like on guard? Like you're a little bit more, because you're on their home turf, I would assume.
As a fan or as a player?
As a team and like as fans, because like they're walking around with their like Florida State shirts, and like literally we're like almost picking fights with people in New Orleans. Like, and a lot of the LSU people were like, yeah, like we'll see, like good game. And they're like, oh, like talking shit. I think that Floridians are just assholes to begin with. So I'm not a big fan. But so I was rooting for LSU. I think they lost by like a point. So I was disappointed about that. I know it really doesn't matter. Who cares? For them, it was like, something really kind of important. But outside of that, it was a lot of fun. Like, I definitely recommend New Orleans to anyone. From what I hear from locals, Halloween is actually a really great time to go. Like, they recommend going for Halloween versus Mardi Gras, because Mardi Gras is so packed and crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So probably not this year, but like maybe next Halloween I'll have to check it
Fun.
out.
That's cool. That is very cool. Thank you for that report on New Orleans and the negative impact of Floridian fan base.
Yeah, and of mascots based off ethnic groups. Yeah.
I just can't stop picturing the as talking Jews, like you said, coming out.
Right? Like singing like a song from like to the tune of Fiddler on the Roof. Like it's like almost funny because like it's so stupid. Like why would you to do that?
I guess that's why they pick maybe ethnicities that have a more warrior type of background to them. I don't know. I mean, when you think of the Aztec Empire, you think of what? I mean, what's the first thought that comes to your mind?
The atrocities of the Spanish conquistadors and colonists.
Fair enough. Yes, I wiping them out. Yes, befriending them and then stabbing them in the back. Okay, but they were a proud warrior people, right? Yeah. And that's just what is glamorized in Hollywood for me, and that's just what I picture. I don't know. Yeah. But it's. We'll get into that. The next couple of weeks when we hit into Hispanic Heritage Month, and I think we'll take a deep dive into those different cultures. I think that'd be fun to do.
Yeah, there is a trending topic right now in relations to Hollywood, race and all of that. So D23 happened, excuse me, recently, and one of the things that came out is a picture of the new Snow White.
Okay, and Rachel Zegler, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and she is of mixed ethnicity, which is really funny because people have claimed that she's not Latina because she's not, like 100% Latina. Some people are now saying that it's, ridiculous that they casted her to be Snow White because she's too dark. I saw a lot of people on Twitter kind of like in aghast that a Latina would be playing Snow White. One person, to quote them, was Snow White, emphasis on the white part, skin as white as snow, lips as red as rubies. Like, what part don't you understand? When you look at the actress, she's fairly light-skinned. Yeah. She's not Afro-Latina. She's not an indigenous Latina. She's actually, like, I think part white, racially. So it's like, what are you so upset about that someone who is not an Aryan is playing Snow White? It's so odd to me that we're in the year 2023 and people are upset about Halle Berry playing the Little Mermaid.
Yes.
There are people upset about Snow White. There are people upset that the Blue Fairy in Pinocchio was a Black woman. If that bothers you, you have really big problems.
Mm-hmm.
Really big problems. People and people say, well, imagine if we would have said Pocahontas is going to be played by a white person. I don't have to imagine that because we have decades worth of movies and films where people of various ethnic and racial backgrounds were played by white people. So we don't have to play pretend. We can just go into the vaults of Hollywood and look at movies. And it's not just movies from the 50s, it's movies within the last decade. So they're playing that game of like, what would happen if a white person, we don't have to play that game. We know the reality of it is that white people have been playing roles of various ethnic groups which they do not belong. Most recently, James Franco was going to be playing,
Fidel Castro.
And the media is like going crazy about how ridiculous that is, that an actor should be able to play whoever they want. So we're still in that era of Hollywood casting white people to play various ethnic and racial groups. So you're just mad that a Black girl is playing a mermaid.
Yeah.
Because
that's the root of it right there.
Yeah, there's no historical accuracy of mermaids being white.
It's a mermaid. It's a fantasy creature.
Yeah.
Right.
And they want to argue with like, oh, well, it's Hans Christian Andersen and that it should have been out of this era. No, he wrote a story and it's fiction, period.
Exactly.
And it's just like, they're also upset about a Latina playing Wednesday Addams, saying that she's not Latina, that she shouldn't be playing Wednesday Addams. There is also there's another role too that just came out where they're like all upset about. Damn it, what's the other one? I don't know. Oh, the Lord of the Rings, that there's a fucking black hobbit. We're upset that there's a black hobbit. Like, what is wrong with these people? Like, and the thing is that, so let's say Hollywood took your advice and said we're not going to have the blue fairy in Pinocchio be a black person. We're going to stick to a white person. But then they come out with a new movie like, what's the one with that we don't talk about, Bruno? Encanto. Then those same people are like, oh, well, you're pandering towards the woke crowd. So you don't want a movie that is new featuring people of color, and you don't want old movies reimagined with people of color. So you want just white people.
Exactly.
That's and it's like, you should be ashamed. You should not feel comfortable tweeting your opinion out about that. You're backwards thinking, you're fucking racist, and you're an idiot. Like, and the fact that it's like we shouldn't even be talking about those people's opinion, because they are the people that should be standing on the side of the road, like yelling into air, because they're just not part of reality. Like, they're so beyond being part of where we stand as a
No, I agree. Yeah, definitely. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, speaking of D23, there is one role that I think you would be happy that I saw, is that Danny Ramirez is going to be coming back as the Falcon in Captain America 4.
Nice.
So I saw that, and I immediately thought of you and our conversations that we had about that role and how he takes up the mantle of the Falcon. So I was like, cool. I'm happy to see that.
Yeah. I mean, the positive part about having to listen to all these people bitch is that Disney's not listening.
Yeah.
They're continuing to cast people of, various backgrounds and racial and ethnic group. So they can bitch all they want. Disney's unfazed and unbothered. They're basically telling those people, like, you're not a factor into us deciding what's going to happen. So stay on Twitter and stay mad, because we're going to keep doing what we do. And that's make money. And it's not in the positive sense. It's not just Disney saying, like, this benefits us financially. I also do get the sense that they do care, and they want, let's say like Kevin Feige, that he is genuinely wanting to create characters and have roles for the young kids that look up to those roles. And he wants people to be able to see Black characters and Latino characters and Asian characters. And it is really a concern. And so I don't feel that it's pandering. And it does make me happy to see that.
Yeah. Speaking of Asian characters, it's kind of a weird segue, but let's talk to Benedict Wong and the moment his character in the MCU, Wong, is having right now. He is seemingly in everything right now. And I think that's really cool. He's like the glue that's tying all like the phase 4 and the phase 5 storylines together. Yeah. And he's played a more prominent role than I thought he was going to in She-Hulk, which I think is fun. It's you're caught up on it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this episode 4 was really fun and exciting to watch. Seeing them open up the portals to like this weird dimension where the demons were coming up that looked like little gremlins. That was like really fun. I think it was they introduced a new character that I'm not sure if is in the comic books or not. There's 2 new characters, I think. Donnie Blaze and Madison.
But I am not an expert in all things comic book and canon, but I think that those are new characters.
Okay, so Madison, the party girl who seemingly just happened to be in the right place or wrong place at the right time or whatnot, and it's just a positive party person and goes through life that way. And she was a lot of fun to see. And her interactions with Wong were a lot of fun to see. And then the interesting character of Donnie Blaze, I think I don't know if he's going to play a more prominent role. But a lot of people are saying that his hype man, the older gentleman, is here comes back again, harkens back to WandaVision with, is it Mephisto? Is that how you say it? Mephisto, because he's like, yes, open the dimension, open it. So he's like trying to encourage him into doing these things. So maybe that's another debate that's coming up. But She-Hulk itself is such a joy to watch. Yeah. It is so much fun. Tatiana Maslany, I think that's how you say her last name. She is such the perfect casting for that role as Jennifer Walters, and it's just so much fun to see. I look forward to it every week.
Yeah, I think that episode 4 is like where they really hit their stride when it comes to the comedy and the style of show or the type of show that they want to be. But there is a bit of action with her fighting these demons. Yeah, there's the humor with Madison, and with like her going on dates and her being like very sexual and being, her hormones are pumping. That's very She-Hulk. Like, it's very true to the comics. I think that was the most fun episodes thus far, and so it gives me really hope for the rest. People are still kind of like upset about the CGI. I think it's fine for a show. It's not a movie. I was able to see Lou Ferrigno with green body paint and was okay with that. So I think I can deal with the CGI.
Exactly.
I really love that they made fun of like the nerds that are coming for She-Hulk because she's a female character in that particular episode, with like, why do they have to make the hero a woman? And it's this woke, and it was just such a cool little jab there that they took at the naysayers for the show. It was just a lot of fun. It was really humorous. It was fun. It was cool to see Abomination again, and how he's like turned a leaf and is now spiritual, and that was really fun. It was just a really fun episode. I'm really looking forward to seeing more. It looks really cool. I love it. It's a really good show.
Yeah, it's really fun. And I'm really looking forward to Daredevil coming in. I saw an interview with Charlie Cox, and I didn't know he was British, to be completely honest, until I saw this interview, and I was like, oh, okay.
They'll sneak up on you, those Brits. They love taking roles.
I did not know that, so it surprised me. But he said that if he could have any character come back into Daredevil Born Again, he would want Tatiana on there because they had so much fun, so much chemistry and energy in his episode. I guess he's just in one episode of She-Hulk, but so I'm looking forward to that. I'm a huge Daredevil fan, so hopefully that comes up sooner than later.
Yeah, that's really cool. We also got a glimpse of Werewolf by Night with Gaga and all. That's something else that's going to be coming out soon in October. I'm really excited. I know there's a little bit of controversy because he might be playing either like a white werewolf by night or a character that is actually Latino. I mean, it would be great if the character is Latino, similar to Moon Knight. Like, yes, it's being portrayed by a Latino man, but like the character is actually like Jewish. I think that I am okay with just Latinos getting work. And then we'll demand that they start playing like actual Latino characters. I'm just like glad that they're actually getting roles and that we can see people of color like in these roles. And then hopefully we'll start seeing more characters that are actually Latino. One that is hopefully, fingers crossed, not going to get messed up is Blue Beetle, which is gonna potentially be with Susan Sarandon coming out. She plays the villain. She was on, I think, a late night show saying that she's playing the villain and that the show is going to be in Spanish, except for obviously like her lines and her as being a villain. So that's kind of cool. Like that, I think that that's going to be a cool spin. It is with Warner Brothers, so who knows what's going to happen as far as that. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we get that Latino superhero out. That'd be really great.
And they also announced, I guess, in Captain America 4, along with the Falcon, there's going to be the first Israeli superhero, Sabra. And I wasn't even aware of this character, so I'm excited for that. Just, my connection to the Jewish community is not as strong as I want it to be. So hopefully this will help strengthen that bond to my pop culture and my cultural background.
Yeah,
So.
she's really cool. I think I have some comics with her in it. And she's actually a mutant. So
Okay.
it'll be interesting if she is a mutant in that, because then is she going to be another character so we have Kamala Khan, who is a mutant. So then we'll have another mutant. So hopefully just slowly creeping up to the introduction of the X-Men.
Right. And they introduced the Thunderbolt team. So that was interesting with Taskmaster, Red Guardian. I guess you'll call her the Black Widow now. I don't know if she has a different name, right?
Yeah, it's
Yelena.
Yeah, and also Ghost and Winter Soldier.
Yeah. So that looks fun. I mean, I know a little bit about the Thunderbolts. I know Hawkeye once led them. I know Norman Osborn led them for a while. So I'm curious to see where they're going with that. And of course, we get our first look at Sam Jackson back as Nick Fury for Secret Invasion, which I've just finished reading the small run of that. So that's exciting. That was, if it's anything like that comic book run that included every single superhero team, which I don't think they'll do it that widespread on a show.
Yeah,
but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a lot of espionage. I picture it to be like a lot of the Winter Soldier, Captain America 2, the Winter Soldier, where it's more of a thriller espionage type show. Hopefully they play along those lines, because that was one of my favorite MCU movies was Captain America 2, the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. So some cool stuff definitely coming out. As far as news and pop culture, I think that's what everyone's been talking about right now.
Yeah. That, and I'll give you a week to watch Thor: Love and Thunder, and we can talk about it next week. I would just say it was really fun. Don't listen to the critics; they just want to hate on something. But it was really fun. I enjoyed it. I even enjoyed seeing your favorite actor Russell Crowe as Zeus. He did a great job. It was he didn't play it too seriously. It was. You'll see. When you see it, you'll see what I'm talking about.
So, I mean, I do know some things. I know that there's a special appearance at the end of the film, and it's by an actor that is on a show that you're particularly a huge fan of.
Yeah.
Did it look as cheesy as the clips that I saw? Because it's like his head on like a CGI body, right?
It didn't look like a CGI body because it wasn't like big Dwayne Johnson big when Dwayne Johnson played Hercules. It was a smaller toned down version, more like the other Hercules movie, because Brett Goldstein isn't a big fella. So it didn't look cheesy. I thought it looked cool. It was exciting. As soon as they cut to him, I knew who it was going to be. And as soon as I saw his face, I knew who it was. So I was like, oh, cool. So that excited me. That was cool.
Yeah, it is interesting that there weren't a lot of people. Most of the fanboys were like, "Oh, it's really cool! Like it would be so cool to see a Hercules Thor movie." But people weren't really saying anything about that actor not physically being up to par physically, like they have with Benoit Huerta playing Namor in Black Panther. So that's kind of interesting that a white person would not have the same standard applied to them that a indigenous Mexican would have playing a superhero. But such is life, right?
Such is the life they want. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
My thoughts about that. So
yeah, we just spent the last 15 minutes talking about that. Well, I'm curious though. You did go see Lady Gaga this past weekend, and she's on my list of people who I would like to see. So I just was thinking, who are your other people? Let's say your top 5 of musicians, bands that you would want to see, living or dead, that you haven't seen yet.
Yeah. I'll stick to living, and also who can still perform, because Tony Bennett, God bless him, is still alive, but he's retired. He would be my number one. But because he's no longer performing, and I'm not a wizard, I can't, go back in time. So he would theoretically be on my top list. But if we were going to say someone that like I've just been wanting to see that I haven't been able to see. I would say number one, not in any particular order, but like in
Okay.
my the top
Yeah.
five would be Bjork. I
Oh,
think
okay.
she's a really great, just a genius level artist, and I would love to be able to see her do her thing on stage.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really great performance that was filmed, I think, for HBO a while back, and she was backed by an Inuit tribe, like a
Oh,
choral
wow.
tribe.
Okay.
It was I think they filmed it in a church, and it was just a really cool instruments. The vocals were amazing. She's just an amazing artist, so I would love to be able
Mm-hmm.
to see her.
That's fun. Yeah. I mean, I went living or dead because a lot of mine were dead.
Okay.
Like I would have loved to have seen Nirvana live. I mean, the live at for Unplugged Live in New York was like my one of my favorite albums ever. So I would
Yeah.
have loved to have been in there. And kind of like a 1B for me is the Foo Fighters. Because Dave Grohl crossover. I've been reading a lot of his newest book, The Storyteller, and
Mhm.
just the amount of stories and stuff that he's been through in his life as a musician is crazy. Yeah, so I would like to see them.
So number two, who I saw perform live at a recent concert festival, but I didn't get to watch all of them because I cut out early to see Morrissey. I would really love to see Blondie perform in an intimate, small venue
Mm,
because
hmm.
they're one of my favorite bands. I love Deborah Harry. I love the new wave sound of Blondie. I just really like them, and I think it's cool that they're still, kind of really cool and in an older age. So
Yeah.
they would be my list of people that I could potentially see still.
Yeah. Another one of mine is dead. And before he passed away, he did a really cool acoustic tour, and that was Chris Cornell.
Mm.
So his voice is just imagine his voice in a small, intimate venue with an acoustic guitar. And that was just something that I would just been blown away by. So too bad it can't happen, but I'll find recordings of it. So
Yeah. So number three for me would be Fleetwood Mac. I
ooh.
would love to see them perform. I love Stevie Nicks. I especially love Fleetwood Mac songs. I don't think that it's possible because I don't know how they feel with each other at this current moment. But I think that it's still within the realm of possibilities that they may reunite. And I think they fired the other singer, but hopefully, maybe it'll happen
So it
again.
could happen.
Yeah, it could happen, right? I'm keeping
Right.
my fingers crossed.
Another one for me in the land of the living this time is I couldn't decide between them. So I went Flogging Molly, Dropkick Murphys. So one of the two Irish punk rock bands, one of the two bigger names. I really love the energy of that music, of the punk rock with the Irish folk music. And it makes you want to get up and just move. So I really would love to go see one of those shows.
Nice. So number four for me would be a band that has really been instrumental like in a lot of decades, like decades long musical career that has influenced me. That I've played their CDs like back to front, like just over and over again. And I really would love to be able to see them as Radiohead.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I just
definitely.
sonically, vocally, lyrically, everything like it just I feel like it would be an experience.
Hmm. Yeah, my next pick was very similar to Radiohead in that they're a huge rock anthem type band where that whole experience was Muse. I
Mhm.
would really love to see Muse. I love just the whole package of what they bring.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I was just listening to them like 2 nights ago. Yeah, and because they're and I was listening to one of their albums, and I was like, I can't believe how old this is. I literally feel like it's probably 17 years old.
Right.
And I was like, I honestly feel like I was just driving around San Diego yesterday singing along to it, and it was 17 years ago. It
Was that
made me feel so
Starlight
old.
or Black
But
Hole Revelations?
yeah, and it took me back to that time, uh,
Hmm.
and it was just so weird. But yeah, I would agree with you. I would love to see them too. My number five, I'm gonna have to think about it for a second because there's so many great musicians. Um, that are out there, great bands. I've been fortunate to see many of them, so I have a lot of people that I have wanted to see. But I've been lucky not to. I'm not bragging. I've just been very lucky that I have seen a lot of people that I really like and enjoy. So maybe I'll go with a group that is dead because this is like my go back in time machine and see them play. Uh, I would like to see the Doors, even though Jim Morrison is, there is some criticism of him, like maybe not being the best vocalist or, maybe them not being the greatest band, but they just evoke an emotion in me of like a time period of like the LA music scene of that time period, that I can just listen to their music and it sort of takes me out of where I currently am. And it's a vibe. It's just, I love their music. It would be cool to see them maybe if, actually in their time period when they're in their heyday playing like off of Sunset would be kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking about the Doors as well. They were on my list, but I went with my last one. I was debating between whether or not to include Elvis or Johnny Cash. And I went with Johnny Cash just because I feel as I grow older, his songs and the meanings behind his songs and lyrics have a bigger impact, I think, on the world and myself. So yeah, I would love to have seen Johnny Cash in Folsom County Blues, maybe not as a prisoner there when he's singing it, but just to see him perform, be able to see him perform Man in Black at the university when he wrote it just like hours before, just to see and what it stood for. And so Johnny Cash. As a bonus, real quick, I would like to watch the Interrupters because they're coming here to Vegas in a couple weeks. And so if you guys are watching this, Interrupters, hook me up with some photo passes. I'll get some good pictures of you.
Nice. I'm glad that you chose Johnny Cash over Elvis because I would have had to end this podcast right now. How dare you even bring up Elvis?
Well, I mean, yes, I know the negative side of Elvis. Yes, I grew up listening to Elvis. I really liked his music. I mean, if you take away everything outside of the music part of it, right? Outside of the fact that he stole the music, stole the sound, the vibe, whatever, and just listen to the songs and appreciate that. As a kid, growing up, I really liked it. I mean, I even watched the new Baz Luhrmann Elvis movie, and I enjoyed the music part of it and the performances, and they glossed over a lot of everything else. But I think it was because it wasn't a true Elvis biopic. It was more of an Elvis and the Colonel and how Tom Parker and how he controlled and manipulated and Zengali'd him, right? And took his finances. And that's what I think it was more of the movie was based on, that interaction. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Johnny Cash is a better pick.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I admire about Johnny Cash, that he was just like a badass, like outlaw rebel, and was not racist at all. Like he fought for like the, I don't know if you want to call it like lower class, but like the blue collar man.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
And the blue collar man that's not only just white, but like all blue collar men, like black, white, whatever. Like, and that's what made him like a unique original, especially within like the country music genre. Yeah. So I definitely admire him a lot, and I do love his music. Obviously, Elvis would have been like a big X for me. Is there anyone on my list that if you had free tickets, you'd be like, meh, I'm good?
The closest I think I'd get to would be Bjork. I mean, I appreciate her as an artist and a musician, but her tonality is a little maybe an acquired taste for some.
I was going to say that.
And I think, I mean, I like some of her songs, so I can't say I wouldn't, but I don't know if I'd sit through a whole concert of hers.
Yeah. There's one song of hers that I can play that will just put me in a really great mood. The like drum and bass, the vocals, the like insane, like out of the box lyrics. It just makes me happy listening to it. And she, I mean, definitely a lot of my choices are, I think, people that are somewhat polarizing. Like some people like them, some people don't. But that's kind of almost part of the reason why I do like them.
I'm gonna piss you off. I'm gonna listen to this and enjoy it. Damn it!
But just like because they're so unique, and
Yeah,
I like that people kind of stick their necks out to be unique.
yeah, yeah.
I posted a video. I'll have to post it on Twitter so that our followers can see it. But Lady Gaga gave an amazing speech about being who you are, and and saying, everyone here knows who they are and they're living their honest lives. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but it was very. Let me backtrack. So before we went, I knew that this concert was going to be cathartic for me, that it was going to be like an emotional experience, and it was, partially because of the way she speaks so emotionally honest to her crowd. She shared with the audience like maybe a bit of drama that she was going through, where she didn't want to write songs. She was smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day. She was just like going through it. And she's like, I know that you know what it feels like. Like, we're here to party and dance. So like, fucking get up and dance. And it was like what I needed. And to hear her speech about, knowing who you are, being true to who you are. And then she like sort of paused and said, and if you don't know who you are right now, like, that's cool. You will soon. And you'll be, that much stronger for it. She's just such a beautiful human. Like, it's so crazy that someone that I don't know, that is just a performer, has such an impact emotionally on me and on so many different people. So that's someone definitely that I'm glad that I've seen her now 3 times. I think that she's going to be having a residency again in Vegas. So maybe that might be an opportunity for you to check her out.
Yeah. I think her residencies are like, which are great, and I would love to go see it. I know she does like more of a jazz residency, which I think is fun too. Oh, she does both. Okay.
Yeah. So last time she had it in Vegas, she had a jazz night and then a pop night. I saw her in the pop night, but this time I think she's only doing pop. She's not going to do the jazz.
That's I would be happy to see her either way.
Yeah.
If I could afford it. It was good too. I don't know if necessarily my budget fits into her price range. So maybe
we can get some sort of press pass.
There you go.
Where was I at that I saw people that were getting invitations to something, and I was like, how in the fuck do they? I looked up their YouTube and I'm like, they have like 2 followers and like no guests, no interviews, no nothing, and they were getting invited to this event. I don't remember what it was, but I was like shocked. I was like, okay, we need to get some more invites to some like press things. Like, definitely,
I think so. Yeah,
I'm thinking we should be at the next Comic-Con. I'm thinking that maybe we should be getting invited to some like social media nights for like some musicals that come. I've actually been to social media night by coincidence, and I've seen some of the people that are there. I'm like, you got in for free because you're a social media guru? Okay. So fingers crossed, maybe we can start working on that and getting some more invites, and we'll get you into Lady Gaga.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, because they want to know our opinion about her performance, right?
They do. They're on pins and needles waiting for it.
Yeah.
Well, let's manifest that. Anyone out there watching, first of all, thank you for sticking around this long to hear our ramblings. But if you're out there, let's kind of, and somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, the 6 degrees of PopCultX. Get us in there. We want to be a part. We want to be in the room where it happens, so to speak. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Unless you have anything else.
No, I'm good. Thank you to everyone. Please subscribe. Check us out on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever social media exists. We'll be there. Message us, talk to us, watch us, listen to us. Stay safe.
Don't argue with us.
Yeah.
Because you might win. No. Stay safe. All right, everyone. Take care.